The Speed Challenge. The gym was packed that afternoon in Los Angeles. The air smelled of sweat and leather and determination. Among the fighters who trained there, one name echoed louder than the punches on the punching bags: Mike Tyson. The young heavyweight champion, already a rising legend, had paused his training to observe a man who moved with almost supernatural precision. Bruce Lee. With his defined muscles but without the exaggerated bulk of boxers, Lee looked like a sharp blade, fast, lethal, unpredictable. Tyson, curious, approached while Bruce adjusted the bands on his wrists. "Hey, Bruce," Tyson said, crossing his arms. "Everyone says you're fast. But how fast, exactly?" Lee paused for a moment, as if the question required more than a simple answer. Then, with a calm smile, he turned to Tyson and said, "Mike, speed isn't just how fast you move your fist. It's how fast you think before moving your fist." Tyson frowned, expecting a demonstration. Bruce didn't rush. Instead, he took a coin from his pocket and held it between his fingers. "Let's do a test," he said, extending his hand. "When I drop this coin, you try to catch it before it falls to the ground." Tyson laughed, confidently. "That's easy." Lee dropped the coin. In the blink of an eye, Tyson reached out his hand, but the coin was no longer there. Bruce had captured her in the air, without Tyson even seeing the movement. "How the hell did you do that?" Tyson murmured, eyes wide. Bruce returned the coin. "It wasn't my hand that was faster. It was his mind that was still processing what his eyes saw." Speed is anticipation. It's seeing what others haven't seen yet. Tyson was silent. It wasn't just his physical quickness that impressed him, but the clarity with which Bruce explained something that he, as a fighter, felt instinctively but had never put into words. For a full 5 minutes, the heavyweight champion sat there, motionless, absorbing the lesson. When he finally spoke, his voice was lower, almost reverent. "Damn, Bruce, you're not fast. You are something else." Lee smiled, patting Tyson on the shoulder. "And you can be too, Mike. You just need to train your mind as much as you train your body." And with that, he returned to his training, leaving behind a Tyson who, for the first time in a long time, felt there was more to learn than just punches and brute strength. The Tiger Awakens. The following days were a silent transformation. Tyson didn't return to the gym with the same fury as before. Instead of hitting the punching bags as if he wanted to destroy them, he began to watch them as if he expected them to move before his fists even hit them. Bruce, noticing the change, said nothing. He just adjusted the training, inserting exercises that challenged perception, blindfolded sparring, surprise attacks from multiple angles, sequences of movements that required Tyson to anticipate, not react. "You're thinking too much," Bruce said one afternoon, as Tyson hesitated before a kick. "Speed is not calculation. It's refined instinct." Tyson gritted his teeth. He knew the problem wasn't physical. It was something deeper, a voice inside him that whispered, "You're not fast enough. It never will be." The challenge. The invitation arrived without warning. A black envelope, delivered by a man in a suit who didn't say a word. Inside, just an address, a date and a name: Kazuki the Ghost Hayashi. Tyson had never heard of it, but Don King, his manager, blanched when he saw the paper. "This guy is trouble, Mike. An underground fighter. Never lost. They say he's not human, that he moves before you even blink." Tyson felt his blood boil. It wasn't fear. It was something more primal, the need to prove that Bruce's lesson wasn't just theory. "Schedule the fight." Don tried to argue, but Tyson was already leaving. "I needed to train. I needed to see it." The night of the ghost. The ring was small, lit by cold lights that reflected the sweat of the few spectators. There were no cameras, no official judges. Just a man in a white suit, who raised Kazuki's hand and announced, "Rules? There isn't. Only the winner comes out alive." Tyson didn't laugh. He saw. Kazuki was thin, almost frail, but his eyes didn't blink. They anticipated. In the first round, Tyson attacked with a straight right and missed. Kazuki was no longer there. In the second, he tried an uppercut and hit the air. The crowd started laughing, but Tyson didn't hear it. He was learning. He doesn't react. He predicts. In the third round, Tyson stopped thinking. He let his body act, not like a fighter, but like an animal. When Kazuki came forward with a spinning kick, Tyson didn't dodge. He knew the blow would come, and he was ready. His counterattack was a blur, a punch to the liver, a hook to the jaw, a knee to the stomach. Kazuki fell like a puppet with severed strings. The silence was absolute. Then, the crowd exploded. The return. Bruce was waiting at the gym when Tyson returned. I didn't say anything. He just pointed to the mirror. Tyson looked at his reflection. He didn't see the invincible champion. He saw a man who still had a lot to learn. And now? He asked finally. Bruce smiled. Now, you really start. And Tyson, for the first time, understood that speed wasn't just anticipation. It was evolution. The weight of victory. The locker room was empty except for the smell of sweat and liniment. Tyson sat on the bench, his knuckles throbbing, his breathing still ragged. The fight was over, but the adrenaline was not. He flexed his fingers, watching the bruises form under the skin. Kazuki wasn't just any opponent, he was a broken mirror, showing him what he could have been, a fighter trapped in techniques, without a soul. The door creaked. Bruce walked in, carrying a towel and a bottle of water. He threw it to Tyson, who caught it midair. You broke it, Bruce said, emotionlessly. It wasn't just a victory. It was a lesson. Tyson took a long drink, the icy water burning his throat. He didn't expect me to absorb the blow. No. He expected you to dodge. Bruce crossed his arms. But you are no longer the fighter who dodges. You are what you use. Tyson looked down at his hands. They trembled, not with fear, but with something deeper, a hunger that could not be satisfied with trophies. What if I don't know what to do with it? Bruce laughed, a dry, humorless sound. You already know. He just doesn't want to admit it. The awakening. The next few weeks were a blur of training and introspection. Tyson no longer fought to win. I struggled to understand. Every movement, every breath, every muscle contraction was an unanswered question. Bruce pushed him beyond his limits, not with screams, but with silence. Sometimes all it took was one look for Tyson to know he was wrong. Then the invitation came. The Obsidian Belt, a clandestine tournament where the best in the world faced each other not for money, but for something more ancient, the right to be called immortal. There were no rules other than one: winner took all. The loser often didn't leave. You don't have to go, boo, Bruce said, when Tyson showed the invitation. Necessary. Why? Tyson didn't respond. I knew the truth, but I couldn't say it out loud. It wasn't about the belt. It was because of the emptiness I felt after each victory. It was the feeling that no matter how many opponents he took down, there would always be something missing. The Arena of the Gods. The location was an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of the city, lit by spotlights that cut through the darkness like blades. The crowd was a mass of shadows, whispers, and whispered bets. Tyson entered the octagon without looking around. It didn't need to. He knew everyone was watching him. His first opponent was a giant Russian, Victor the Hammer, known for breaking bones with a single punch. When the gong sounded, Tyson didn't move. Waited. Victor advanced, confident. A direct one. Tyson leaned back, letting the blow pass inches from his face. Another punch. This time, Tyson didn't dodge, he absorbed. The impact reverberated through his body, but he didn't flinch. Instead, he spun, using the Russian's own weight against him, and threw him against the railing. The crowd roared. Victor stood up, his eyes bloodshot with hatred. He attacked again, faster, more furious. Tyson didn't block. It didn't deviate. He let him come. And when Victor was close enough, Tyson grabbed him by the neck and threw him to the ground with a crash that shook the octagon. The Russian didn't get up. The last lesson. The final was against a man who had no name. Just one title, the Spectre. He didn't speak. Don't smile. It didn't bleed. He fought as if he were already dead. And Tyson finally understood what Bruce meant when he talked about evolution. It wasn't about speed. It wasn't about strength. It was about presence. About being so immersed in the moment that time ceased to exist. About not fighting against the opponent, but with him. The Spectre attacked. Tyson didn't move. Waited. He felt the rhythm of the blows, the ragged breathing, the sweat running down the man's temple. And when the right moment arrived, Tyson disappeared. Not physically. But for the Spectre, it was as if he had never been there. A punch to the plexus. A kick to the ribs. A knee to the chin. The Spectre fell to his knees, eyes glassy, as if he didn't understand what had happened. Tyson held out his hand. The Spectre held her. And, for the first time, he smiled. The end of the path. Bruce was outside the shed when Tyson came out, the obsidian belt slung over his shoulder. The night was cold, but Tyson didn't feel it. And now? Asked Bruce. Tyson looked at the horizon, where the sun was beginning to rise. Now, I stop. Bruce didn't seem surprised. Why? Because I understood. Tyson touched the belt, feeling the weight not of the metal, but of the choices. It's not about winning. It's about knowing when to stop. Bruce nodded. And what are you going to do? Tyson smiled. I'll teach. And just like that, the invincible champion became something more. A start.